Funnily enough, this anime actually has a lot to contribute to discussions on Christian living. Yes, it sucks that the main problem with Fire Force is the really obnoxious fan service, which is just genuinely unfunny with a lot of scantily clad women being bombarded on the screen, so I'm not recommending this anime to you on that basis. However, Fire Force presents us this world with a lot of institutions. These are institutions such as the church. In this world, they have the religion of Sol, which is meant to provide hope and meaning to the population of Tokyo. Entities like the Imperial Armed Forces, the Tokyo Fire Force, these places where values of courage and bravery are being promoted and being put on a pedestal. This anime has a world that works, like society functions, but it's a good reminder as Christians as we watch this anime that we may be blessed with structures in society like the government, like the church, but even if there is a lot of good which is created as a result of these structures, without Jesus, without a living God, then all of these structures just become meaningless. As a Christian watching this show, I'm going to explain more in this video how Fire Force, while on the surface doesn't seem that way, actually has all of these underlying things which I hope will make you ponder about Christianity's role in our own society. Just to introduce you to the premise of the anime, Fire Force is a world where humans just spontaneously combust out of nowhere. Like, you could be riding on the train one day, then all of a sudden you're gone, you're dead. It's over because your body has been possessed by a fire demon. Now, according to the lore, this just happened all of a sudden, like some strange natural phenomenon that global governments couldn't quite get a handle over, which resulted in worldwide societal collapse, even with the collapse of the Japanese state. The only reason why Tokyo continues to exist in this anime is because of the technological advancements of Hajime Industries and the creation of the Special Fire Forces. Now let's focus in on that premise again. The fact that you could just be living a normal life at one moment and then the next you're essentially cooked. I think it's really hard for us, those of us living in industrialized countries, to really comprehend that as a reality that many people today face. It's kind of obvious when you do say it out loud, but we look at the various people who are affected by these fire demons in this anime. The first case is this factory owner's wife who just spontaneously combusts. How do you even say goodbye in a moment like that? The partner you've known for many, many years suddenly is no longer the person that they once were. Or the girl whose mother had previously caught on fire 4 years prior, and then we meet her in episode 2 where her dad catches fire during that episode. What this anime does is that it takes the real fear that many people have around the world and puts it in a context for us to digest. A majority of you watching are probably comfortable enough that you don't have to fear being killed as a result of gang violence or war, as a result of violent unrest and rebellion. So what Fire Force does is that it packages that same fear that someone certainly has living in a third world country and puts it in this allegory of spontaneous combustion at the hands of these fire demons. There's also something to say about spiritual realities that we may often dismiss, especially here in the West, and Fire Force makes it a reality in its story that these demons and spirits are meant to be something to be feared, that at any moment you could be a victim of spiritual attack. The great tragedy of this anime is that even though all of these people are under the attack of demons, there's no Jesus for them to look to. Let's come back to the girl where both of her parents spontaneously combusted and how scared she is, and how the fire soldiers around her can only really offer platitudes to her. We see here how the structures the Tokyo government provides only offer a band-aid solution towards people's genuine worries in regard to this threat. There's only so much that the existence of the Fire Force can bring. Even though there's all this heroism which is being paraded about, it doesn't provide a lasting peace towards the individual living in this world. There's this whole religion which is created, which has all of these doctrines and rituals and things which keep it going, and that's all well and good because it provides a morale boost for the fire soldiers. It gives a reason for the fire soldiers to be fighting, but this religion without a relationship with God is also ultimately worthless. We see this with the two sisters, the sole survivors of this particular convent, where all of the nuns and sisters of this convent spontaneously combusted. Like, it was good that there was this religious institution that was able to take care of all of these orphan children, and it was good that there was a religious order that again provided some sort of meaning within the madness of this world. But what happens with one of those surviving sisters is that she walks away from any semblance of trying to be good or moral without a genuine relationship with God, even though she grew up in this church. This this woman grows up to be an incredibly bitter woman who responds solely to displays of power. Her worldview is that in a belief of natural hierarchy where the strong take their place at the top, naturally oppressing the weak. She doesn't at all treat people as people, but as objects to be experimented on. She doesn't treat being in charge of her Fire Force division as being a genuine act of service to the community, but uses her position to advance the interests of Hajime Industries. Those religious rituals which may have encouraged her as a kid to be compassionate or to care, they may have been there, but they're ultimately useless. She acts in a way contrary to that because she has no relationship with God. I want to continue to labor the point that this anime does promote good moral values, those notions of service where the whole Fire Force is working in order to bring peace to the souls who are caught by the fire demons. For the main character Shinra to be really wanting to embody the archetype of the hero. The image of a hero is really cool in that it can provide the non-Christian an ideal to be striving towards, to be coming in at the last minute, for example, when he picks up Iris off her feet to dodge some falling debris, or when he decides to take all of these guys who are trapped in a room about to explode and blast off out of there, or when Shinra challenges Hibana that he can be her hero to place faith back in humanity, or most beautifully, when he comes in at the last moment to save Tamaki from the guy abusing her, with her tears streaming down her face, just indicating how much relief she felt after Shinra's come to save her. The hero archetype is amazing in this anime because Shinra can then become a Christ type, for which we're able to look at this anime and recognize how he's trying to emulate Christ in this self-sacrificial way, in the way he wants to save people for the sake of saving them. Though while Shinra emulates Christ imperfectly by still sinning, and he still has his faults like his propensity for lust, we then look to Christ, who is the perfect sacrifice for whom we ultimately look up to. So all's this to say, this anime does contain these small gems in it, yet at the same time it also shows us a world without hope and in need of hope. A world with all of the right structures and societal institutions, yet it is a world that lacks that relationship with God. It is a world created with Christ in mind that needs Christ, but is unfortunately deficient as it lacks Christ. Which is what leads to the wackos who operate in the shadows of Tokyo. As the series progresses, we find out that there's a doomsday cult going around Tokyo turning people into fire demons, and their whole goal is to make it so that the whole world just becomes fire demons. It's comical because it's a complete inversion of what Jesus preaches and what we as Christians are wanting for God to do. The Lord's Prayer includes that line, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven," which is this desire for the Christian for God to continue spreading his kingdom on the earth. So it's absolutely comical that the main antagonists of Fire Force is this doomsday cult who literally want earth to become the fiery pits of hell. Overall, I hope I've articulated well to you, dear viewer, some of the themes in this anime that really did captivate me, to the point that I did watch on through episode 14 of the first season. To have this cult led by the shadowy figure known as the Evangelist, which one can interpret as being the embodiment of people who want to embrace sin, like they literally do spell it out in the anime, and these cult members are wanting the main character Shinra to become a devil like them. Like that's literally the wording that they use as they try to entice Shinra to bring them over to their side. Though at the same time, there's Shinra himself and the rest of his colleagues within his Fire Force division, the embodiment of those values related to being made in the image of God, of courage, of service, and despite not actually accepting God, there's those bits and pieces here and there indicating how much this world wants to reach out to God despite not having a relationship with him. However, even though those themes would make Fire Force what I define as a Christian anime, unfortunately there's that obnoxious fan service which is really prevalent and means this anime does miss the mark for me. I hope I was able to contribute to your discernment process regarding this anime, and if you are interested in an anime that actually supports the existence of God, then please do take a look at my video on Vinland Saga.